The Steinway trembled under her fingers. Not because Maya Bennett was afraid. She'd stopped being afraid of white men in expensive suits a long time ago. The piano trembled because she was playing it the way it was meant to be played, with every ounce of herself poured into keys that hadn't heard real music in years. Behind her, Julian Voss wasn't breathing. The famous pianist. The prodigy. The man who'd just called her the help and told her to fetch champagne while he wrestled with a composition that had defeated him for 3 years. She didn't fetch anything. She played. And now the concert hall, empty except for the two of them and the ghost of Rachmaninoff hanging in the air, held its breath. Her hands moved through the final measure. The impossible one. The passage Julian had just butchered for the 6th time, swearing, slamming the fallboard, declaring the piece fundamentally broken. It wasn't broken. He was just playing it wrong. Maya's fingers found the resolution. The chord progression Julian had been forcing instead of letting it breathe. She gave it space. Let it ache. Then resolve. Silence. Heavy as velvet. She lifted her hands. Didn't turn around. Just sat there on the bench in her gray, cleaning uniform, the Klein Hall logo stitched above her heart, and waited. How? Julian's voice cracked. How did you? Now she turned. He stood 5 feet away, face pale, conductor's baton forgotten in his grip. You missed the rest, Maya said quietly. On the 2nd page. You keep trying to force the tempo, but Volkov wrote it as a meditation, not a performance. Julian stared at her. You're a cleaner. I'm a pianist. That's not. He gestured vaguely. You can't what? Her voice was calm, heavier than anger. Read music? Play Volkov's unfinished 3rd. Or be in this hall after you've left her sheet music on the piano for anyone to see. His jaw tightened. Do you know who I am? Yes. Then you know I've been preparing for the Tchaikovsky competition for 8 months. That piece is my showcase. And you're the woman who just played it correctly. The words landed like stones in still water. Julian's face flushed. Get out. Maya stood. Slowly. Precisely. I have 4 more rooms to clean, she said. I'll be done by midnight. She picked up her supply cart. If you touch that piano again, Julian called after her, voice shaking, I'll have security remove you. Permanently. Maya paused in the doorway. Didn't turn around. Just said, you should practice the rest. Page 2. Measure 63. Then she left. 16 hours earlier the email had arrived at 6 a.m. Maya saw it while drinking instant coffee in her studio apartment, 12 blocks from Klein Hall, close enough to walk, far enough that rent was almost manageable. Subject, rehearsal schedule, Klein Hall. She opened it on her phone, already knowing what it would say. The same thing it always said. Julian Voss. Private rehearsal. 8 p.m. to midnight. Hall closed to public. Maya was scheduled to clean starting at 10 p.m. She timed it carefully over the past 3 weeks. Arrive at 10. Work the outer rooms first, lobby, restrooms, administrative offices. Save the concert hall for last, when Julian would theoretically be finished. Except Julian was never finished. He stayed later each night, wrestling with the same piece. Volkov's unfinished 3rd. A nearly mythical composition, written by a Russian prodigy in 1987, lost during the Soviet collapse, rediscovered 2 years ago in a Moscow archive. No one had performed it publicly. Julian Voss would be the first, if he could master it. Maya had listened to him fail for weeks now, heard the same mistakes, the same frustrations, the same brutal treatment of a piece that required intimacy, not domination. She wanted to say something, but she was the cleaner. Julian Voss was the star. That night, she arrived at 10:07 p.m. The lobby was dark. Security waved her through without looking up. She cleaned the restrooms first, stocked paper towels, emptied bins, mopped floors, moved methodically through administrative offices. By 11:30, she reached the concert hall. The door was ajar. Inside, Julian sat at the Steinway, head in his hands. Sheet music covered the piano. The real sheet music, archival photocopies from Moscow, marked with his annotations. He'd been working from memory before, trying to internalize it. Now he looked defeated. Maya knocked softly. He looked up, eyes red-rimmed. What? I'm scheduled to clean. Not now. I finish at midnight. I don't care. He turned back to the piano. Wait outside. Maya hesitated. He played the opening measure. Botched it. Swore. Played again. Worse this time. Slammed his hands down. This piece is broken. Volkov was a hack. The words hit Maya like cold water. He wasn't, she said. Julian spun around. Excuse me. Volkov. He wasn't a hack. You're just playing it wrong. Silence. Julian stood slowly. Tall. Imposing in his black rehearsal clothes. Who the hell do you think you are? Maya met his eyes. Someone who knows that piece. You? He laughed. Short. Bitter. You're a cleaner. I'm a pianist. Then why are you pushing a mop? The question hung there. Maya didn't answer it. Couldn't. Not in a way he'd understand. You should rest, she said instead. On measure 63. The tempo, get out. If you just, I said get out. Or I'll have you fired. Maya looked at him. At the sheet music. At the piano that knew the truth, even if he didn't. Then she did something she'd promised herself she wouldn't do. She stepped forward, set down her supplies, and sat at the piano. Don't you dare. Her fingers found the keys. Julian tried to stop her. Reached for her shoulder, fingers grazing fabric before the first chord froze him in place. Not the opening. Maya didn't start from the beginning. She started from measure 63, the place where Julian always shattered, where the piece demanded something he couldn't give, vulnerability disguised as technical precision, emotion hidden inside mathematical perfection. Her left hand carried the bass line. Steady. A heartbeat. Her right hand told the story. It was a love letter, this piece. Volkov had written it for someone. Maya had read the liner notes in a library book months ago, back when she still believed she'd play professionally someday. Back before Juilliard became a dream deferred and then a dream buried. The someone was a woman, a pianist herself. She died before Volkov could finish the composition, so the third remained unfinished. By design, the final movement wasn't missing. It was withheld, a silence that meant more than sound ever could. Maya understood that. She lived it every day. Her hands moved through the passage, past measure 63, into the territory Julian had never reached because he couldn't get past his own ego long enough to hear what Volkov was saying. This isn't about you. This is about grief. This is about playing through something that can't be resolved. Her fingers found the impossible chord progression, the one that looked wrong on paper but sang when played with the right touch. Julian made a sound, halfway between gasp and sob. Maya kept playing. The piece built, rose, not to triumph. Volkov didn't write triumph, but to acceptance. The final measure arrived. Maya played it, then lifted her hands. Silence crashed back. She sat perfectly still, not looking at Julian, barely breathing. Behind her, nothing. Then footsteps. Slow, deliberate. He came around the side of the piano, stared at her like she'd performed a magic trick. How did you do that? Maya stood. I listened. To what? The spaces. You keep filling them. Volkov left them empty on purpose. Julian's hands trembled. He gripped the piano lid to steady himself. You said you're a pianist. I am. Where did you study? Maya hesitated. This was dangerous territory. Truth had teeth. Peabody Conservatory. Full scholarship. Graduated top of my class. His eyes widened. Peabody. That's when. 4 years ago. Then why are you? He gestured at her uniform. Cleaning. The word tasted bitter. Because Peabody doesn't guarantee performance careers. It guarantees debt and competition and a lot of white men who look like you deciding I'm not the right fit. Julian flinched. I auditioned everywhere, Maya continued. Might as well finish it. Orchestras. Touring companies. Studio work. I made it to final rounds twice. Both times they went with someone who looked more classical. That's illegal. It's unprovable. Silence. Julian sat heavily on the piano bench, put his head in his hands. I'd been working on this piece for 3 years. 3 years. I hired coaches. Flew to Moscow to study Volkov's notes. I convinced the Tchaikovsky competition to let me premiere it. He looked up. And you just played it. Perfectly. In a cleaning uniform. Maya said nothing. Who else knows you can play like this? Does it matter? Yes. He stood abruptly. Yes, it matters. You can't just, this is my career. My showcase. I've built everything around this premiere. Then you should learn to play it correctly. His face darkened. You think you can do better? I just did. In an empty hall. Try doing it in front of 3,000 people and a panel of judges who've been waiting their whole lives to see someone fail. Maya met his eyes. I've been failing in front of no one for 4 years. Anyone I've worked with. I have 6 weeks until Moscow. If he can teach me what you just played. He gestured vaguely. I'll pay you. Real money. not cleaning wages. Maya felt something cold slide through her chest. You want me to teach you how to play my way, so you can perform it as yours. It's not your performance. I'm the one competing. Because you have the access, the name, the invitation. Because I earned it. Did you? Her voice stayed quiet, controlled. Or did you just get born into the right circumstances? Julian's jaw tightened. That's not fair. No, it's accurate. She picked up her supply cart. Wait. He moved to block her path. Maya, please. I'm offering you an opportunity to stay invisible while you take credit for my work. To get paid. To be part of something historic. I'll be part of nothing. I'll be a footnote you'll never mention. That's not. It is. She met his eyes. You know it is. You'll learn what I teach you. You'll win in Moscow. And 10 years from now, when someone asks how you mastered the unfinished third, you won't say a black woman who cleaned the hall taught you. You'll say you worked hard. You'll say you understood Volkov's vision. Silence. Julian's face said she was right. Get out of my way, Maya said. He stepped aside. She pushed her cart toward the door. Security will hear about this, he called after her. You touched conservatory property without permission. Interrupted a private rehearsal. Maya stopped. Turned. Tell them, she said. Tell them the cleaner played Volkov better than you ever will. See what that does for your reputation. His face went white. Maya left. She finished cleaning. Clocked out at 12:47 a.m. Walked home through streets that didn't care about Volkov or Moscow or dreams that died slowly in gray uniforms. In her apartment, she made tea. Sat by the window. Didn't cry. She'd stopped crying 3 years ago. But she let herself remember what the Steinway felt like. The weight of the keys. The resonance. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then did. Maya Bennett. A woman's voice. Professional. Warm. Yes. My name is Dr. Kishiro Konjo. I'm the artistic director for the International Emerging Artists Program. Julian Voss just called me. He said I needed to hear you play. Maya's breath stopped. I told him he was wasting my time. Dr. Okonjo continued. Then he sent me a recording. A recording? From tonight. The hall has practice room audio for archival purposes. He pulled it. Maya's hands went numb. Ms. Bennett, I've been in this field for 30 years. I've heard every conservatory prodigy, every competition winner. What you play tonight? A pause. When can you come to New York? The train to New York left at 6 a.m. Maya hadn't slept. Hadn't really processed the phone call. Just packed a bag, ironed her one good concert dress, and stood on the platform while dawn broke cold over Baltimore. Dr. Okonjo had sent a ticket. First class. Maya had never sat in first class. The seat was leather. The coffee was real. The woman across the aisle didn't clutch her purse when Maya sat down. Small mercies. Penn Station at 9 a.m. was chaos. Maya followed GPS directions to an address in Midtown, a brownstone tucked between glass towers, elegant and understated. The plaque beside the door read, International Emerging Artists Program. She rang the bell. Dr. Okonjo answered personally. 60 maybe. Locks pinned up, sharp blazer, eyes that missed nothing. Maya, not a question. Come in. The interior was all dark wood and framed photographs. Maya recognized faces, pianists, violinists, conductors who'd shaped classical music over decades. 3 of them were black. Coffee? Dr. Okonjo asked. Thank you. They sat in a studio overlooking a small courtyard. A Steinway smaller than Klein Hall's, but infinitely more loved, waited in the corner. Tell me about Peabody, Dr. Okonjo said. So Maya did. For years compressed into 15 minutes. The scholarship. The late-night practice rooms. The competition circuit where she placed well, but never first. The auditions that ended with we'll be in touch, and never were. The debt. The survival. The slow suffocation of talent under economic reality. Dr. Okonjo listened without interrupting. When Maya finished, the older woman set down her cup. Julian Voss called me at 1 a.m. Woke me up. Said he found someone I needed to hear immediately. She smiled slightly. I told him to go to hell. Then he sent the recording. I didn't know about the recording. He didn't ask permission. Technically, that's a violation. But she gestured toward the piano. Play something. Maya's throat tightened. What would you like to hear? Whatever you'd play if no one was listening. Maya stood, crossed to the piano. Saturday. Her hands hovered over the keys. What do you play when everything depends on it? Not Volkov. That was Julian's albatross now. She played Schumann, Kindersinnen, childhood scenes, simple pieces. Deceptively so. They required absolute honesty. No technical flash to hide behind. Just emotion, translated directly through fingers to keys to air. Maya played Trauma Ray, Dreaming, the piece her mother used to hum while cooking, before the cancer, before the medical bills that ate Maya's college fund and made Peabody scholarship the only path forward. She played for her mother, for the girl who'd believed talent was enough, for the woman who'd learned it wasn't. The final note faded. Silence. Then Dr. Okonjo's voice, thick. How long have you been cleaning? 3 years. And before that? Adjunct teaching, studio work, weddings. You're 26 years old. Yes. You should be touring. Maya turned. Doesn't pay rent. Dr. Okonjo stood. Walked to the window. The Emerging Artists Program sponsors 12 musicians annually. We provide stipend, housing, showcase opportunities, and most importantly, management. She looked back. We're particularly focused on artists who've been systematically excluded from traditional pathways. Maya's heart hammered. I can offer you a spot. Starting next month. You'd work with our coaches, perform in our showcase series, record a demo album. If the showcase goes well, and it will, you'd have representation for competition and touring circuits. The room tilted. Maya's voice cracked. What? Because you're exactly who we're looking for. Julian found me by accident. No. Dr. Okonjo's voice was firm. Julian found you because you were there. You were playing despite everything. That's not accident. That's persistence. Maya felt tears coming. Forced them back. What about Julian? What about him? He's still competing. With Volkov. That's his choice. He can't play it correctly. Not without help. Dr. Okonjo raised an eyebrow. Are you suggesting you help him? I'm saying. Maya paused. I'm saying the piece deserves to be heard properly. By someone who understands it. Yes. Someone like you. The words hung there. Maya understood what Dr. Okonjo was suggesting. The shape of it. The Tchaikovsky competition allows late registration until 4 weeks before performance date, Dr. Okonjo said carefully. If someone were to submit an application, someone who could demonstrate mastery of a significant work, someone we sponsored. She let the sentence trail. Maya's hands trembled. I can't compete against Julian. He'd what? He recorded you without permission. Called me because he knew you were better. If he truly understood music, he'd step aside. He won't. Then he'll lose. Maya stood, walked to the window, looked down at the courtyard where a cat dozed in weak sunlight. I haven't competed in 4 years. You've been competing every day? Against a world designed to erase you. If I do this, if I go to Moscow, it won't be quiet. People will ask questions. Julian will tell them I was his cleaner. Let him. Dr. Okonjo's voice was steel-wrapped in silk. Let them all know. A cleaner who plays better than their prodigy. That's not a scandal. That's a correction. Maya closed her eyes. Saw herself on that stage. Under lights that didn't care about her uniform or her debt or the years she'd lost. Saw herself playing Volkov the way it was meant to be played. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Louder now? Okay. The Tchaikovsky competition happened in November. Maya spent 6 weeks in Dr. Okonjo's program, practicing 8 hours daily, working with coaches who taught her not technique. She had that, but confidence. Julian found out about her registration 3 weeks before Moscow. He called. She didn't answer. He showed up at the brownstone. Security turned him away. He tried email. We could have worked together. Maya deleted it. The night before her flight, Dr. Okonjo took her to dinner. Whatever happens in Moscow, the older woman said, you've already won. You know that, right? Maya wasn't sure, but she nodded. Moscow was cold. The venue, Tchaikovsky Concert Hall, was magnificent and terrifying. Julian performed on day 2. Maya watched from the wings. He'd improved. Clearly worked with new coaches. But measure 63 still defeated him. He forced it. The piece broke. Polite applause. Judges made notes. Maya performed on day 3. She wore the black dress Dr. Okonjo had bought her. Walked on stage with her head high. The Steinway waited. She didn't see the judges. Didn't see the audience of 3,000. Just saw the keys. And played. Volkov's unfinished third, complete with the spaces. The grief. The love. She played for her mother. For the girl she'd been. For every cleaner and adjunct and invisible woman who had perfect pitch and empty pockets. The final measure arrived. She played it, lifted her hands. Silence. Then applause that felt like thunder. Maya didn't win first place. Third place. High enough. But more importantly, she was seen. 6 months later, Maya gave her first solo concert. Carnegie Hall. Small stage. Sold out anyway. Dr. Okonjo sat front row. In the audience, scattered throughout, women Maya had never met. Black women, Latino women, Asian women. Musicians who'd heard her story and came to bear witness. Julian Voss wasn't there. He'd withdrawn from competition circuits entirely. Teaching now last she heard. Maya played Schumann, Chopin, and yes, Volkov. She played it better than in Moscow. Played it like someone who'd earned every note. When she finished, she stood for the applause. But she didn't bow. She looked at the audience, at all those women, and nodded. We're here. We've always been here. Now you have to listen. Backstage, Dr. Okonjo waited with flowers. How does it feel? She asked. Maya considered. Smiled. Like waking up. 3 years later, Maya Bennett was recording her second album when she got an email. From Klein Hall. They were renaming their Emerging Artist Scholarship. Wanted to call it the Maya Bennett Fellowship. Full funding for one conservatory student annually. Preference given to students from underrepresented backgrounds. Would she accept? Maya read the email twice. Then called Dr. Okonjo. They're trying to claim you, the older woman said. Use your name for optics. I know. You don't owe them anything. I know that too. Pause. But, Dr. Okonjo prompted. But some kid who's cleaning now will get funded. And maybe that matters more than my ego. Dr. Okonjo laughed. You're better than me. I learned from you. Maya said yes to the fellowship. Attended the announcement ceremony. Shook hands with Klein Hall's director, who definitely didn't remember her. And when they asked her to play, she did. Not Volkov. Schumann. Traumerei. For the girl she'd been. For the woman she'd become. For everyone still waiting. The music filled the hall where she'd once pushed a cart and been invisible. Now they stood for her. And Maya Bennett, pianist, teacher, proof, played on.